Hey, here I am. Sorry, guys. It's been a very, very, very long couple days, uh, and it's nice to see all my old friends in the chat before we even get this thing started. Ruben, it's you've been missing in action for a while. It's great to see you in the chat. You're right. What we're almost close to ASM. Where's Nick to kind of cheer us on to get us to a future issue of Amazing Spider-Man? So, um, successful day, very very hectic for me. I think I'm ready to kind of sit back and relax a little bit. I actually opened a beer, which I never do. As everybody knows, I always drink water, but I felt that it was finally time to take a break. So I can kind of go over a few of the things, my observations from the show, and I hope to hear from you guys as well in the chat. And I think that, by and large, what I went into the show being very, very apprehensive about where I thought things were going to be this time around, and more than anything, it was thinking about the fact that Thought Bubble was going on the same weekend in the UK, and the snafu with Bashara and Tom Kraft and I not communicating, well, or them not communicating with me or reading any of my press releases to let them know when the show was, and then them scheduling the LA show this Sunday. I kind of went into it thinking that we were poised for a letdown, and certainly even with the slow amount of art getting added to the show, I was thinking, all right, maybe now that we've got in-person cons are coming back and we're dealing with those nuances that we haven't had to experience with, or kind of I haven't been faced with any competition for eyeballs, right, in the first three shows. So here we are 18 months after the first show in May 2020, and I've got these two things that are stacked up against me, and I thought it would be really really interesting to see how things were going to go. And by and large, I look at it and I could, I run the numbers, and we had the same amount of artworks that came in as previously. And I'm sorry, there's so many comments coming through, I can't read them all, but I wanted to just say that I'm very happy because when I look at the numbers, I know that we actually had the same amount of artwork as the prior show. I didn't think we could ever get that close to that, that number again. We actually surpassed it. We had 4,800 artworks in the May 2021 show, and I believe there were almost 5,000 artworks for this show. So that was a positive. The number of uh, exhibitors went up by about 20. I think we just had over 200 the last show, and this one we had 231. So a lot more activity, at least on the exhibitor side. And again, I am gonna go back and read through all these comments. So I appreciate it, all the everything that everybody's posting, but I just want to kind of get through my initial thoughts here. So primarily, again, very apprehensive, but the traffic was actually a little bit lower than last May, and I think that might be due, in fact, to the people being tied up yesterday in different parts of because of Thought Bubble and whatnot. But the sales were pretty much around the same. We Although I don't have the final numbers, I know that we're going to definitely cross $1 million in sales again, and we were at 1.2, 1.3 with the prior show. So that's pretty good. I mean, as I recall, and I'm sure many of you would remember, there was one or two sales that were rather large in the last show, six-figure sales. So we didn't have any of that. I mean, what was the high sale of the show was 34,000. So it was a lot of very high quality sales, of course. But everything, if 34,000 was the highest, I'd say that's the lowest high number sale that we've had ever. So so that's good. I mean, it just shows me there was a lot of quality artwork, because to be able to reach the sales figure that we're at right now, and knowing that was the high watermark, then yeah, there was a lot of quality artwork. And I can't thank everybody enough for bringing, for those of you that follow my guidelines, bring new art to market or artwork price to sell. Clearly that's the winning combination, right? It really is, and I can't stress that enough. And how do we enforce it? I'm not sold on what the right way to do that is going forward, but you'd like to think that for the people that maybe didn't sell as well, that it really is, if you follow those guidelines, you'll sell. I mean, that's what we follow that same mantra with the dueling dealers with Mike and Anthony. We try to only bring new things to market, and that's what works. I mean, you need to excite people to to spend money, and showing them old artwork that's been in your CAF gallery and your classifieds for a few years isn't going to work. It's not going to generate any interest. And so at the end of the day, you end up with not a lot of sales in those booths. So, I look at Dino. Dino brought a fantastic number of amount of pieces and had a 66% sell through rate, which is incredible. I look at a lot of like the Andy and Veronica Fish and the in Artist Alley. I think they sold 37 to 46 pieces. That's fantastic. And I know that's been part because they promoted it to their followers and social media too. So, there's a lot of reasons why some people sell and some people don't. But it really is about bringing things that are new and utilizing the show to be that springboard to make those sales. So, just for the exhibitors who don't do well, I would just hope that we can get that they'll realize that that's what really needs to happen if we're going to do well. And for me, and I know we talked about it at the beginning of the show as well. One of the thoughts I had was about we need to maybe lower the number of pieces. 48 pieces for an entire weekend is a lot. You do it twice a year. How many collectors? Because this is by and large a collector convention. If we, and I'll go over those numbers as well. That collectors, how many collectors can actually bring 48 new pieces to market every show? They can't. So does that mean, but a collector probably, you want to get as much out of your booth as you can, hoping, so I get why we have to post pieces that have been around for a while, but it kind of works against things. We always want the impression of the show to be that it is, things that haven't, that you haven't had for sale in a while. It doesn't, when I say new to the market, I hate that freshness concept. I don't believe in it, but I feel like if you haven't had it in your calf gallery and you're bringing it out special for this, I think that, that makes it, new to the market. And I think that, it just works. And again, there's so many comments here. I can't read them all, but Dino is a brand now. I see that one, Ron Lim. Very, very much so. He is definitely a brand. I mean, all the things that he's done with us has made him that way. And he's the best. But so the numbers so far, I can just go over a few things with you. That I ran the stats about a half hour ago, so I'm sure these things have changed a bit. But at the time that I ran the reports, there were 577 sales from the 4,900 plus artwork. So just under 12% sell through rate, which again, that's, if you think about what dealers and sellers bring to San Diego Comic-Con or any place else, they're not selling more than 2 or 3% of what they bring, if that. And so to have a 12% sell through rate for the amount of work that's brought in is pretty fantastic. And I again, I'm just blown away by the fact that we can actually reach a sell-through rate like that on a show that's this size. And at the time I did this, there were $932,000 in sales. So many sellers, not many, okay, several sellers zeroed out their sales, and I follow up with them after the show, asking them to, when you zero out your sales figure, so you put a $0 in there, please email me back and at least let me know the sum total of the artworks that you zeroed out. I know a couple sellers that did that with everything that sold. I just want, it's for our metrics at that point. I'd just like to know what numbers we reach. But from this particular show, there were of the 932,000, 727,000 of that went to collectors. Collectors, by and large, out of the 231 booths, 181 of those booths were collectors. So 50 other booths for dealers and comic artists. And that so 727 for collectors, 156 for dealers, and just under 50,000 for artists. And the interesting thing, though, by the amount of dollars that were brought, collectors brought $7.7 million, at least as their sticker price on the artwork that they brought, as compared to dealers at 5.7 million, and artists only 200,000. So I think it's kind of interesting that the artists actually sold dollar-wise 25% of what they brought. And that's as compared to 9% for collectors and 2.5% for dealers. So, it just shows that the artists that brought their work did rather well and sold quite a bit of it. And artists sold 16% of everything they brought. Collectors sold 12.5%, and dealers sold 8% of everything that they brought. So, those are, again, they're solid numbers. And I'm always just surprised when I look at these things after the fact that we're able to accomplish all these things. And I actually picked up a few pieces of art today, and I hope to spend the next, once this is over, the last 2 hours of the show tonight reviewing what's in my saved list to see if anything is still available. Let's see. There you go, Allison. Yeah, again, I'm not really looking at the chat too much, but Allison said she had 10 pieces, sold 5 with a 6 pending sale. Big success. Thank you, Allison. Again, I kept an eye on your booth. I was really happy to see sales. I kept an eye on a lot of people's booths, but people that I've been close with over the years, I always want to see them do well. And I mean, it's really, really humbling for me to see things work well. I hate it when they don't work well. So, I kind of chew my fingernails through most of this stuff. And like everybody knows, I mean, it's a sweaty palms moment every time we get to when the show starts and the hall's open and we watch what the number of people that come through the door, and I start to worry about the server slowing down and everything. But as everybody knows, the servers performed fantastic, and I'm really happy about that. And I'm very happy with the engagement with the dealers that showed up. I'm really, essential sequential setup. Really, Jason has had a booth before, but never. I don't think he's ever filled it up as much as he has this time. Inky Knuckles Cam, whom I bought a piece from, had a really nice art drop. He promoted the show and both of his art drops through his mailings. Allison did a great job promoting Adam's sales on Facebook as well. And those things mean, they mean a lot because they bring in a lot of the outside traffic that might not be aware of the show. I mean, I had people signing up for booths on Saturday morning because they didn't know about it until somebody put something out there on social media. So, it's really a very group community effort to make this show successful. It's not, it's certainly not Maureen and myself that make it that way. I really do feel it's the fact that everybody goes out there and makes it known, promotes it. The buzz is always rather positive. We try to put on a good show with the panels, and I think everybody by and large has a good time. Let's see. Yeah, I know I will get through all these, and Jason, that's one about alerting people to price changes. That's something that I had on my to-do list from the prior show, and I know we didn't get to that to-do item, but I can actually say, I rewrote it right at the beginning of this show because one of the first things I thought of was being able to email updates to people who have hearted any artworks that you have in your booth. So it's tough to maybe know what could be updated, but I guess at the end of the day, we only let you update the price. At the limited number of things we let you update, we should be able to push an alert out, even if you're marking it for sale or sold. That I'm sure somebody who's hearted it would like to know that item is off their list without having to go to their saved list. So, and Linda mentioned that the likes the wider range of things to view. I agree. It's tough to say which is the best way to go. Is it to optimize your time to have fewer artworks, or is it okay just to go and have to browse through everything? I hope everybody appreciated the site search in the right-hand column that we put in there during the show. It was a kind of eye-opening that people didn't know we even had a search specific to the show until they'd stumble on it, because there's links to it, but nobody really, many people didn't get that. They would just go into the halls and just browse booth after booth after booth. So I wanted to make sure that it was very obvious you could search the whole show at any given time, and that probably helped drive some people around. I mean, it certainly reminded me to use it when I was browsing the show, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even think to search for Ron Friend's artwork, and to not be on the search page, but to easily be able to use the right column and go out and check and see if there was any Friends artwork that was still available that I would want to buy was a nice convenience. Jason says Dino deserves his own emoji. You know what? He definitely does. He's earned one. Larry, hey, thank you very much for that super chat. I sincerely appreciate it. And Ruben, congratulations on adding 9 more grommets to your collection. That's fantastic. I mean, these are the things I like to hear. I mean, it's great. I'm a collector too. At the end of the day, I'm with you guys. I want to be adding artworks to my collection. I want all of you to be adding artworks to your collection. So it's nice to see it. And I know that I know things aren't always perfect with some of the stuff that we've got here, but that by and large, I think things are moving in the right direction as far as subtle improvements here and there, but things that we can definitely do some significant updates on. And I'm reminding myself of another thing here as well. One of the things we wanted to update from the prior 3 shows and have yet to do it is giving you a proper text editor for all the text fields in there. And it's my fault on that one, but I will strive to make that a simpler process to so you can actually edit things and link things a little bit better. It's been a pain in my side every time I see that, and I regret the fact that I've not updated the your text editing ability within the thing. Ron, thank you. You're a huge supporter of everything that we do, and I can't thank you enough. Um, well, that's good. So I was see how many pieces were. Yeah, no, I mean, I do a lot of. Well, we all. That's the great thing about the way this thing it works out. You can sort of do a lot of comparison shopping when you're using your keywords to use it to search the site. I do that all the time. Before I click on any link, I scroll all the results to see what's available. Let's see. And Mikhail, I got a dream page of yeah, there you go. Oh, so you picked up the Leighton. All right. Wow. Congratulations on that. That was one of honestly, that was one of my favorite pieces in the whole show this time around. I mean, it was certainly way out of my price range, but I just love seeing stuff like that hit the market, and knowing that it's going from one incredible collector to another incredible collector is it makes me so happy. And Ron picked up a couple. There you go. Wes, you didn't get anything, but you enjoyed browsing. That's part of the game, right? Let's see. Ron got me a legit Grail, so massive. All right, I love to hear that. I did not pick up any Grails. I know that Jason picked up a pretty big Grail, so he might need another Calf Live, or he might need to be on another Dueling Dealers episode soon to cover that one. But what a great piece he picked up too. So Ted, you got it one piece. Very happy with. Didn't have a booth this time around. Yep, I get it. Well, and that's the thing. Doing them twice a year at least, I think, gives people the opportunity sometimes to sell and sometimes to take a buy, and maybe and I think it's for the best too. I don't think everybody should always be exhibiting if you can't meet some of the criteria, bringing in fresh to market pieces that are going to excite people. And we tried to do a little bit better job this time, pushing out some announcements. I hope everybody saw the email I sent out this morning that had some of the booth announcements that were posted. I included that with a breakdown of the panels. I thought that the panels today went rather well. As far as Paulo's panel went great. The auctions that he did, which I don't think we've done auctions before. Maybe Paulo did one once before a year ago or so, but that went well. I thought Felix's art drops with Otley and Stegman, and then the commission opportunities or the sketch opportunities with Ryan Sook went well too. I wasn't quite sure what to expect from those when we went into them. So that was something we had talked about several times in between the show in May and this one was how could we add a bit more of a claim purchase environment into the panels. So I think this is an experiment worked rather well, better than I would have hoped. So I think we'll probably do a little bit more of that going forward, at least with sellers who are interested in doing that. I think it works well in a artist rep environment, because it just seems like it would be a better way to go. But I thought it worked well, and I hope the fans enjoyed it. It was tough because I know that all three artists are very sought after, and I know that Felix had a lot of emails to send back to people who didn't get to claim any artwork. But it's how it goes. It's we all miss out on things. How many hours of sleep a night did I get? I only got 4 hours of sleep on Friday, but last night I actually did get 6. So I took a melatonin before I went to bed around 1 and woke up at 7. So that helped keep me out for a while. But I will sleep well this evening. I can tell you that. I mean, there's not a lot to do to close out the show. Essentially, there's a few updates I have to make at 10 o'clock when the timer is up. But just like before, we'll leave I've got to modify that page again. I have to remind myself what I need to do. But on that saved artworks list, you'll still be able to see your saved artworks, but it won't link into their booth anymore. Of course, we have to link over to their CAF gallery. So if something didn't sell and you have it in your saved list, that gives you the opportunity to go back and communicate with the seller through their CAF gallery if you're still interested in it and want to work out a deal after the con. I mean, that's something we did last time, and we'll certainly leave that opportunity out there as well. So maybe that answers Jeff's question. Will the Cal pages stay up for a bit, or will they be gone? They will be gone. I mean, you won't be able to get into the hall after 10 o'clock, there's actually a trigger in there that would kick you back out to the show is closed page once 10 p.m. is passed. So, but we will leave if you so please spend when you leave here. If there are other artworks so that if you go back into the hall and there's things you want to save and they're still available, save them now. Think about them, because that does give you the opportunity to pick them up after the fact if the seller is still interested in selling the artwork after the show. So use it. Definitely use that. I am. I can tell you, as soon as I've got about a dozen pieces saved, I bought 2 of the pieces I had saved, and I'm curious to see if the other 10 are still available. But I am going to do a couple searches myself just so I can bookmark a few things. Let's see. So, sorry, I'm trying to read through a few other things there. But okay. So by and large, I think again, I consider everything a success. Even though I know that going forward we will have more competition with the in-person shows. It's going to certainly make the spring show very difficult to probably plan for and see which weekend is going to be the best weekend to do it in May. Because there are a lot of cons typically at that time of year, and this go around we really still had no competition for weekends in the spring. So it's going to take, I'll have to talk with Colin, because Colin, of course, works at Convention Scene as well. So he gets all the advanced dates and everything. So he and I'll have to probably hook up and figure out what is the best weekend for us to do it, and stay away from Memorial Weekend, of course. I know that I believe Heroes Convention is in early June. And like everybody knows, that's the first con I'm planning on going to in 2022. So I want to leave myself a couple weeks away from whatever date that is, so I can rest up and get some money back in my wallet, so I can make some purchases when I go to that show. Let's see, Grant, you were able to pick up an AHA page. Never see the stuff available. Cool. No, again, it's let's see, Jason, I got Adam, a free fall sketch, Bob Layton Solar commission from Aaron Lopresti of Starfire. Great. And that's what this is all about. And I hope that other people who, as the live stream world continues to advance, and there are other people out there selling artwork in those platforms, I would encourage them to consider doing something special on this weekend. The weekends that we have these in the future as well. I thought, I didn't get to see a second of the 4C Comics show that started at 3 on Saturday. I know it went for several hours, and I hope it was a success for them. And I know that I didn't get to watch Jason's essentially sequestered show either, that started at 1:30 on Saturday, but I hope it went well too. I want these weekends to be special for the entire hobby. And, so it's not all about Comic Art Live. If we can help promote other things that are going on around us, I think that's better for us all as a community. I think that, if we could have a couple extra ones going on Sunday, so maybe 4C or another dealer who's used to or rep who's used to doing shows might be encouraged to do a side show as well. I think maybe the timing might be we might have to think about those. The only thing I was worried about with those 2 panels on Saturday that we side promoted was it was just it was very close to the opening of the show to the general public at 1. We peaked. I didn't watch the active users on the site as much as I have in the past, just because I kind of know what to expect. But we had at any given moment, always around 400 users on the site after between the time that the first art drop happened on Saturday until about 4 or 5 o'clock on Saturday. And then again today we hit 400 users on the site, and it crested at about 450 and ended maybe around 2 o'clock. But yesterday we peaked at just over 500 concurrent users on the site, and that was pretty crazy. It always freaks me out to see us loading 30, 40, 50 pages in a second, and that's what was going on. One of the things, I think adding that search box to the side actually made some of our page view counts go down a little bit, because it cut out extra clicks that people had to do to get to the search. So live and learn on that. It's because at the end of the day, I'd rather have more people hitting the landing pages versus in the artworks, versus having to tool around exhibitor halls and things like that. So we definitely need to put in some shortcuts to make getting around easier. I need a drink of water, sorry. So Jason says he loved Anthony's stream. I'd love to see other dealers come in and wheel and deal. Well, Anthony's had that spot for 4 shows now, and it's always I'm in there cracking the whip with him, trying to get him ready and focused. But yeah, this one was different and fun, just like all of anything he's generally involved with. Anthony's a good friend. So I am missing. Mikhail's going to increase his prices by 10% versus running a discount. And then Ron says he hopes that I continue the show at least once a year. Yeah, no, definitely. I just have to think about it. I mean, well, that's why I'm glad that the show was a success today, because I was really thinking if it was clearly if it wasn't going to be a success, that was going to be my defining moment to say, yes, I think we really need to just do one of these shows a year if this one didn't do well. And I was kind of poised for it. These are a lot of work. I can't tell you how much I push Maureen to get updates done. And the thing is, I mean, with the help, I mean, I see Mark Walters is in the green room, but he helps me get some panels guests together. John Suntress, so a lot of people, there's a lot of people, moving parts, and people that help me in all of this. And, it's a big effort. I mean, I go back to the days of doing Big Wow with Tatiana and Morger and Cho and Steve Wyatt. And, those were major undertakings. And this is as close to that as as I hope to ever get again, because doing it all, just really the two of us on the programming and the PR side, it's a lot. It's definitely a big task. So, but I think right now I can say that we'll do the May show and see how that one goes, right? If we continue to see the same level of interest and the same level of sales, same level of activity on the site, because I was looking at the number of emails that went out, and it was pretty consistent with the number of emails in the past. I mean, talking about emails, just a couple. I did it. I sent out that email last night because I had one gentleman who was definitely spam. Their emails were getting spammed, and we've always used the same mechanism to send email off of the site, whether it's from your CAF gallery or it's from the your exhibitor booth for Comic Art Live, and it's not a comicartfans.com address. And so sometimes some people's mail servers will actually spam a mail that is being relayed off of a site to a server and then out. It shouldn't, but they see the header coming from Comic Art Fans to, and what we use is a different domain, CNI Mail, which is Collectors Network Inc., which is my main business. I relay it off of that and out. And most providers will never have a problem with that, but sometimes it can happen where they will spam. And for this one person, that was what was happening. And then I had 2 other people contact me that were concerned about the emails and not getting them. And I think it just was that they weren't getting any, because one of the safeguards that we've always had in CAF, and it's existent here as well in Comic Art Live, is when somebody is emailing you from that email form, before it gets to where it actually sends the email, we write the data to that email saved database record. And I do that because if your emails are getting spammed, I can always say, well, go look at your CAF mailbox, because if it's in there, then somebody tried to contact you. And so I can say the same thing here. If the email was not in your Comic Art Live mailbox, then whatever somebody was telling you didn't happen. Either they thought they sent it, and they didn't, or who knows. At the end of the day, because we write the data to the database first, any error that could happen from the time we tried to send the mail out, because it can happen. A relay error could happen. A communication error between my server and the mail server could occur. But writing it to the database is always our safeguard. That's why I emailed out everybody saying, hey, double check your your CAL mailbox and make sure that there isn't anything in there that you didn't also receive via email, your regular email program. So let's see. I'm just going to read it. So at any rate, that's why I sent the email out. I don't think there was any problem, because one of the things, it's for me, it is the thing that I always get concerned about the most is the email system. I literally, even without people saying they think they have a problem, I kind of send myself emails from my booth all show long at different times. And if somebody emails me, then I do one specifically right then and there just to see it. But But at any rate, I just want everybody to know that I thought that I didn't. Some people felt the sky was falling, but it really wasn't. There wasn't any. It was just those sorts of things happen. And the one person who wasn't getting any emails actually runs like their own custom domain on it. And I think that whomever their provider was probably spamming it. So, and then yeah, the problem with and Comic Connect posted. I see you guys talking about Comic Link. Comic Connect posted things that were in their marketplace, and the rule, as I had always stated at the Comic Link, was they were supposed to do the same thing. Obviously, they didn't. And I really do want my primary advertisers and people that support the site to have an opportunity to post things to the show and participate in the show as if it was a real con. And that is something that we have not programmed for, obviously. And I think that it is a drawback to what we've done, because we've not taken that aspect into account. So, and who would those people be? The Heritage, Comic Connect, Comic Link, Hakes, really, the other auction houses that might be having something coming up. I can't think of any that are active right now, but those people get to exhibit at San Diego and whatnot. Sometimes they bring a few fixed price things, but by and large, they're really only bringing things that are coming up in a future auction. So I know why they wanted to do it, but I need to come up with a way for them to have a booth that they can show things that are at auction that don't come up in the search, that have their own search. Or like when we look at the exhibitor hall, I can just add an extra category for auction houses and segment their items out, of the general search, give them their own search and let them set it to at auction, so we know that there's no price on it. But then they can use it for their own PR. Hey, at the end, that's what they're looking for, an opportunity to promote themselves as well. Obviously I have a very hard time going and scolding people who are the biggest supporters of everything I do here, because they do keep the lights on at the end of the day, just like you guys do too. So trust me, I mean, I'm going to have that conversation, but it's really boils down to, we need to take the time to give those advertisers their own opportunity to promote themselves, so that somebody who's new to the hobby strolls into Comic Art Live, that they haven't bought from an auction house yet. Well, Heritage, Comic Link, Hakes, whatnot, need an ability to at least let them know that they're here. And maybe that's it can be achieved in a few different ways. I did approach one of them about potentially sponsoring the show, because it was like, hey, you've got something big coming up in a few days after the show. Maybe it'd be a good opportunity for you to do that. I didn't hear anything back. So I'm trying to find ways to engage them in a proper way, and let these entities be a part of the show as well. It'll just be something that I'll kind of have to sit down with Maureen and a few of my trusted confidants and try to figure out the best way to integrate them and allow them to at least have a place, because I want them to have a place. I'd like vendors to have a place. I mean, Hero Initiative and a few other ones in the past have tried to utilize the platform early on and really haven't since then. So I'd like it to be more of a I want to be inclusive as best as I can and take care of everybody who takes care of me. So I didn't send them an email or anything during the show. I know that a few people had pinged me, hey, what are we gonna do about, or shouldn't you do something about that? Well, I didn't, and that is why. Well, Jeff, is it possible to have pieces that? Yes. Well, here, I mean, I'll just show it to you. I thought everybody knew this. I've actually shown this before, but I will show it to you right now. If you go to the site search for Comic Art Live, here, I can shrink the box here a little bit to maybe make it a little bit taller. But if you look right there on status, because this is where I've actually primarily, at least on this tab, left this thing to sold all day long. You can leave the keyword field blank and set the status to sold and leave everything else the way it is and click on search. And boom, you can see there are 589 items that are sold. This thing is ordering by highest price. And you can just scroll through the list and see every single artwork that has been marked as sold for during the show. So it's a 589 now. What did I say it was earlier? 570 something. So sales are still happening while we're sitting here talking. But yeah, but I always wanted that out there, partially because I wanted it for my own edification, so I could actually see what was selling throughout the show. I use this as when I do the welcome to the show uh, spiel that I do every time. I look at this when I'm talking about how many sales happened while premium members only had access to the show, and hey, maybe you should be a premium member too, because guess what, because I think this time around we had over 300,000 sales in the dollars in sales in the first 2 hours. But this is how I knew it, by looking at this, and I know it doesn't sum the total there, but usually within the first 2.5 hours, there's probably only 3 pages of sales. So it's pretty easy for me to kind of eyeball it and figure out the total sales that are out there. But yeah, no, I mean, so yeah, you can, and it works. I think it's great because you can come in here and just go ahead and pick out, show me just all the covers that sold and how many covers. I'm curious, how many covers did we sell? 61 covers for the show, and there you have them all. That's pretty cool. And I think it's part of us being very transparent to everybody, so you can appreciate what's happening during the show as much as I am, because I think that again, the show is all about has always been about trying to make give us all a little bit of knowledge about the hobby so that we can see what's out there and have a better understanding of what things are selling for, what things are hot. I mean, I would encourage everybody, and again, you're only going to have access to this for another 2.5 hours. So yeah, you should go through this and look at what was selling, and I bet you by and large, most of the things that we're going to see here weren't offered on any of the prior shows. And I can see Adam and Allison pieces up here. I see Next Comic Art. I know that Jiggy did a few art drops. I see a piece by McHale on here. Obviously, several by Dino. Yeah, I mean, and again, I think if we look through these, we'll see that these are all unique new pieces, debuts, as Anthony would say, and they sold. I mean, I think that's the key. So yeah, definitely use that. I apologize if I didn't remind anybody about that as a feature, but it's like I said, I sit on this thing all day long, just watching the sales increase, just so I can feel better and feel confident that things are happening. Which is why I knew when the few people were concerned about the emails, I knew that really wasn't what was happening, but they were so vociferous. One person was very upset that it made me concerned. But you go back and you look at the sales and you know that things are happening. And Bill, what was up with the search at the top of the day today? I don't know. Was there something up with the search that I don't know about? I don't know. You'd have to let me know what that is, Scott. Shoot me an email. I didn't have anybody tell me there were any other issues with the general site search. Searched several artists for 10 minutes. New artwork's not showing up yet when I was looking by price. I don't know. You should have pinged me. I could have looked at it. I can't imagine what that would have been. But if it so you're saying like for a few minutes it didn't some of the searches didn't work, and then all of a sudden they started to. You'd have to. It would have been best to ping me right away. I mean, that's always best thing. You guys know I'm here, manning the switchboard while the show's going on. So when you see something that you think is a little out of place, it's best to shoot me an email right away. I really can't tell you why that would be. I mean, the SQL Server indexes all the data pretty much on the fly immediately. And so when the art drop occurred at 11 a.m. today, all of that artwork should have already been in the search index ahead of the art drop at 11 a.m. And so I can't imagine why it wouldn't have been. But again, let's see. Sorry, but at any rate, yeah. When anything goes wrong, you just let me know. I mean, if you think something's amiss, I'm always happy to look into it. So can't look into it now though, especially if it's working now. But that'd be the only thing. That's all I could tell you is that it had to have been a search index issue, but it as a mechanism, it self-corrects itself when things go wrong. And at any rate, next time, let me know right away, and I will definitely be on top of it. But let's see, Alberto was like, I think the pieces marked on hold are not shown in the sold section, but they are in the regular search. Well, on hold isn't a status. So, and I know that was something we talked about in the last show, and I was kind of kicking myself that I should have. We wanted to add an on hold status, because an on hold status would mean to me that you would still be able to get inquiries on it, but you would know that somebody else may already have it. And that gives the buyer and seller the time to negotiate a deal. Right now, there is still only the two options in the status field. It's either for sale or sold. So so there is actually no on hold section, unfortunately. Have I considered a make offer feature for those sellers who don't? Well, uh, have I? Well, I've always said pieces need to be priced because so sure they could come in with, as long as they put a $50,000 price on it and they're willing to accept a $10,000 offer. Sure, something like that could be added. I think by and large, from my understanding of how many buyers interact with sellers here, when you use the purchase request option, not always do you offer them, you're not actually paying them the $7,000 for the price. A lot of times you're asking them in the comments, will you take 6,500? So while I could put I could put that make offer option on there, to me it would almost be going to the same form where you're using the same form to make an offer. So I think make offers are always happening anyway. A piece is going to have to be something that that you really feel confident about and want to jump on, to and make sure no other collector can get it, that where you're going to buy it straight up at the price that's being offered. I think I think by and large, as the show kind of goes along, I think and again, sellers, I know there's many of you here watching right now, could comment on that. Why no reply button when someone requests let me see from Fish here. When someone requests a piece, the only way I could reply was to go to my Gmail notification and reply. That's a good question, Fish. I'd say that it means that we need to make a better, and I see Allison mentioning about the on hold too. Allison had asked me about being able to clean up the mailbox. We haven't spent a whole lot of time on the mailbox since it was created. It certainly should feature more like the CAF mailbox, allowing you to communicate with the person contacting you, as well as uh, allowing you to delete emails. That was Allison's question to me the other day. So it needs those features. But one thing I would say is that I'd have to think it through, because you have to remember, we let anybody communicate with you as part of the show, because there can be people who aren't CAF members, so they don't have, unlike CAF mail where you have to be logged in to communicate with another CAF member, you don't have to be logged in to communicate via this show. And that's because we anticipate without question, at least 1,000 people coming to the show every day who have never been to CAF, don't know anything about CAF, don't know to register for an account on CAF, but I don't want to prohibit those people from being able to buy something from you. So the trick there would be, it would make for an interesting system. The system today is all built around the fact that the person you're communicating with has a CAF account as well. And so CAF mail, is fully integrated in everything we do. Cal mail would have to be a little bit different, because the moment you send that person a reply and they're not a CAF member, now you're communicating outside of CAF. And I think when we first built it, our assumption was, well, that's what's going to have to happen. You're going to have to, because we can't guarantee that the person buying art from you is a CAF member, then all bets are off. We can't do a fully integrated end-to-end system. But I should be able, even if that's the case, I should be able to make it where from within CalMail, you can at least reply out that way and not have to be in your Gmail or your Comcast mail and reply that way. So, but it's a challenge. I mean, but that's why we thought it all through. I mean, we get to the point where like, oh, there's no, but those are the kind of things we run into. And that's why I'm kind of talking myself out or limiting what I think I can change on that. I agree with you on that one. Not safe for work is something that I saw in a couple sellers booths, and it's something that we should definitely add a flag for going forward. I completely agree with you on that one, Ankur. There was a couple pieces that I saw that, I mean, they weren't pornographic, but nudes are nudes, and at the end of the day, you don't want your kids walking up behind you and seeing that you're scrolling through a seller's booth and they've got a few of those in there. So definitely something that I will take into consideration. And again, that's a tricky one too, because it's dealing with people who may be coming to it who aren't logged into CAF, and trying to get them to acknowledge that they can actually, that they want to look at the piece when I can't really flag a cookie or a session on them will be a challenge, but I'm sure we can work through that one way or another. I'll task Maureen with that one. Let's see. I put make offer in the exhibitor description. Yeah, Hydra, that's exactly what I would suggest to people who are open to taking, to accepting offers on pieces. I think, writing it into the description is a fine way to go. And Alberto, yep, made several offers to sellers. Exactly. I don't. While we look at what the fixed prices are on things, most people are willing to negotiate. And again, this is a collector show by and large. I think most collectors, some of you go in looking for the pie in the sky numbers, and other people go in with a fair number, and some people are looking to sell. So I think most people who would exhibit here, and most people who've used CAF and the CAF classifieds, have always been willing to negotiate if things are right. I mean, at the end of the day, you may even go for a trade cash deal on some stuff. It's all open to you, the way we handle it here. Yeah, we can't do that. Goo, yes, there is a Dueling Dealers episode tomorrow night. It's a low end one, 12 rounds. First 6 rounds, 500 and under. 7 through 12 will be at 1,000 and under. So a very low end, low key show. Both guys have already gotten me all their artwork as well. And we won't be having a Wednesday show. That is because of the Heritage auction, signature auction starting on Thursday. Comic Links auction is on Thursday. Heritage still has their weekly auction on Wednesday. So yeah, we just decided we were going to go on Monday and keep it really light. I can promise you there probably won't be any new memes because I haven't had any time to work on anything. But we'll have a good time, and I'll be much more relaxed tomorrow. Let's see, from Scott. And again, Scott, I can't thank you enough for this mic. If you're hearing my voice as better than it probably is, thanks to Scott. Why doesn't CAF want list emails fire for booth items when they go live? As a buyer, would make my life easier, and a seller more eyeballs. We actually tried. We actually tried that. We ran tests, I can tell you, at the last show. And the challenge is that running. Okay, you figure we're approaching 1,000, and you're a tech guy, Scott, and I'm sure you'd be like, there's a lot of ways to get to work your way through that, but we've got 5,000 pieces, or at least on Saturday, 4,000 pieces drop. I've got 1,000 premium members with potentially 100 keywords each, and I've got to run a database query against the same database table that's running the entire site, and try to run that and fire off up to 1,000 emails in the span of a hopefully a 5-minute window. It's probably possible, but we actually ran a couple tests about a day before the May show, and we found that process to be running far too long and to be too taxing on the production server. Not that it, it didn't stop the site, it didn't crash it or anything like that, but it was semi. It was a little, you could see CAF slow down while this process was running, and so I look at that and I think there's probably a better way to do it. If Maureen and I, and I could think my way out of the box, we shut down Saturday's offerings. You can't add any artwork after 10 a.m., right? Well, between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., we could probably take that database snapshot, move it to. I've actually got 2 database servers. We could move that snapshot over to the other server and run it against that. So there's probably a way to manage that. We want to do it, but but running it against our production server is not the right answer. So I need to have a better way to accomplish that. And I don't know, and it may be a benefit. At the same time, I also think that, when 11 o'clock hits, I know everybody's on the site and hitting up their favorite sellers and whatnot. I know we can all multitask and probably have that email window open too. And maybe some people would prefer it. I do want to be able to do it though. I hope to be able to add something like that, at least against the want list. The want list keyword sets are 20 per person. But then again, the problem there is that every user can have a want list of 20. So now I've got 10,000 regular users with 20 keywords each that I'd be potentially having to send out an email to. It's it's a good problem to have, but that was why we didn't even pursue it this time around. It wasn't on our task list, but and yeah, keep the site live. Right, exactly. It's got to be at its top performance when we hit those huge peaks, as far as that really that 11 a.m. till about 2 p.m. on Saturday. Just I want the server running as great as possible. Let's see, what did Pop Sequential as a Matt have to say? I know it's about 2 days for the show that I list my Sunday pieces on Saturday and vice versa. It would be great to have a checkbox through the day instead of having to delete and relist. Yeah. There were some questions that came up about that, being able to maybe move prior to the show starting. Was there a way to transfer a Saturday piece to a Sunday and vice versa? There's definitely, we can improve upon the ability to manage your artwork pre-show starting. Let's see. Thank you, Nick. Yep, great show. I agree. We did rather well. Hit the like button. Nick, did you get to hear the poem that Jeff Wedding wrote? I don't know if you actually got to hear that. Let me know. I could read it again here for everybody for Nick. If he let me know, Nick. Jeff Wedding wrote a nice poem, and you were included in it. But yeah, no. I see. Okay, Nick did not, so I will read that. But Rick, that's what it's all about. Again, I just want to be as transparent about what's going on as possible. So because again, the show is all for you. At the end of the day, it's all for the people who support the site and support the channels, that we've, and Comic Art Live and everything that we've been doing on CAF all these years. So you're as vested in this as I am, and I wouldn't have it any other way. We've talked about this a lot. I've worked in a vacuum for so long and not looked for feedback on how to make CAF better or how to make any of the side projects better. I just sort of do things the way I want. And being able to engage all of you in this way and have you help direct what we're doing it's really been a blessing, to be honest with you. Because like I told you, Maureen's a great programmer, but when I talk to her about what I want to do, she's like this, again, I always say this, she says, don't tell me why the collectors need it or why you want it. Just tell me how you want it to work. She just doesn't care. So Nick, let me give you this. This is a good poem, Jeff. And this was it was really true. I got this. This is the first email I read on Saturday morning when I woke up, and it was from Jeff Wedding. And Jeff, he wrote this a classic. It's a very classic riff on something you'll know. But here it goes. 'Twas the night before Comic Art Live, and all through the hood, not a creature was stirring, not even Mafud. Portfolios were stashed by armchairs with care, in hopes the next morning new art would be there. Bill and Maureen worked long through the night to make sure all the vendors' booths were displaying just right. Kavi, Scott Wingo, Alfredo, and Mikhail were all fast asleep, dreaming of a possible grail. Berkey and Anthony were feeling just fine, but also prepping for Monday night's Dueling Dealers at 9. Nick Barucci exclaimed from the experience Friday night, "Merry Comic Art Live to all this weekend, and please smash that like." So there you go. Jeff Wedding, you are the man, the myth, and again, I can always show these off. I have my poker chips still right here from Jeff. Me as the Thunder God himself. I love that. And then of course we've got the Dueling Dealers themselves, Anthony Snyder, Mike Berkey, all those from Jeff. So Jeff, you are the man. You made my morning, because I was so worn out. I only had, like I mentioned, 4 hours of sleep, and to read that, I was just it made me happy, got me started the right way. I love it. Yeah, see, he's a poet. He is a poet. Who would have guessed? But at any rate, I don't know what else I really want to tell you guys, other than I'm really happy, and I'm so glad that everybody had a good show, and and I look forward to everybody's feedback. I'm gonna have to go back and read through the chat, but if there's any things that you feel that can be improved upon, please send me an email. Never feel that you can't reach out and tell me you don't like something, because I may disagree and it may go nowhere, but I'd rather hear it than not. I don't sit there and say that SOB, why did he tell me to do that? Because I get a fair number of emails every week about CAF and other things that we work on, and I digest it all. There's probably some things that people have told me that I ended up thinking were my idea a year later when I ended up doing them. But it's better to get those things into here and give us some things to think about, because eventually they will, if they're good ideas or valid things that need to be done, they will find their way into the work that we do, and will continue to make the hobby a more fun place for all of us, which is my end goal is I just want to keep everybody smiling. So let's see. It was possible, right? But I am going to keep reading through these after the show. I do apologize for not being able to keep up with the chat, but um, so we've got just over 2 hours left on the show. I hope that if there's pieces that you've been on the fence about, close them out. Buy a few more things if you can, and make every somebody else's day a little bit brighter. I think this was I was really happy at that the Artist Alley show side of things did as well as it has. I think we've never really we had a little bit of a bigger turnout this time. I think everybody sold something at least, and some new people popped in there, and I think that was great. I think as I've told you that Alex Saviuk was our first panel of the show, and I talked with him a little bit before the show, as did John Suntress, and he's definitely interested in doing one of those art drop sales with us, and so I think we'll probably be doing something with him in January. Albert contacted me about something really quite interesting that I think will be on the horizon soon. I know somebody asked me in a chat that I kind of forgot about the other day. Somebody asked when Albert was going to be back on Dueling Dealers, and I think that's going to be after first of the year. Albert actually has 2 or 3 shows that he's going to in the next 6 or 8 weeks. So he's really tied up with planning that. Whenever Jim Lee is making an appearance, usually Albert goes. And I think, so he's going out to the West Coast soon. And then I think he got something in Canada, and forget what the other one is. So he's pretty busy, but he and I will definitely be doing a really, really interesting show, I think, in the near future. And it'll probably be a members only show, like we did the last time we did that exclusive art drop thing with him. But I'll keep you posted on all that as soon as I can work out the details. Yes, Jason asks about the Cal Mail. You will have access to your entire exhibit booth editing section, including the Cal Mail, for at least a month. I always say a month, and then it ends up being in there for 2 months. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that. You will be able to get into your booth administration side and access anything you want in there. I would just let everybody know that don't delete anything, and I prefer you not to zero out your prices until things are over, if you can help that. Just so we can have as accurate data as we can. But other than that, no, you'll have access to that, and that data stays around till next year when we clean things out. So if there was ever something that you lost or forgot about when we do cut off your access, I can always get anything that you would need. Yes, we should do a Dueling Dealers live at Como. I completely agree, Tatiana, and that's something that I would love to do. That would be a fun panel, wouldn't it, to do something like that at a show, do it live, see and actually have people in the audience, either claiming, making offers. I mean, it would be an interesting thing. It might be a little chaotic, but no, I really hope to do a live Dueling Dealers show sometime as part of a panel at a con, and Como would certainly be probably the coolest place to do one. I think that would be my ideal pick for sure. Let's see. And Allison, you mentioned you're not planning on doing many shows. So Comic Card Live. Okay, well, that's what I want to hear, because I do feel a lot of people are going to be apprehensive about traveling. That's why I'm waiting all the way till summer. I'm not. Well, I'm over 50, so I guess I'm in that health risk realm of COVID. I don't feel like risking it, anymore. I feel like if we can do these things here and do them just as successfully, and then in between allow CAF to do its thing, because CAF is, we've always said CAF is a con 24/7, 365 days a year. We're just making an event to kind of focus everybody on twice a year. But I think that for some people, cons aren't, unless they're local. I mean, I think a lot of people aren't going to travel to cons like they used to. I do want to continue to go to San Diego and New York, but who knows what the future holds. And again, things are evolving and changing, and as long as we help fashion that and direct it the way we think as a community, it's the best way to go. Then that's great. We have say in the future of the hobby and how we're going to continue to evolve and just make the place more habitable and sustainable for all of us. And that's the coolest thing, right? At the end of the day. Let's see. And that Comic Card Fans. Yes, that's I believe that is Mark Walters in the green room. But let's see. Oh, yeah, exactly. Man, Mark. Yeah, I didn't see that up there. Very, very true. Let's see. So Nick says I got to get 5 more likes to 50 on this one. But anyway, all I can do is I can't tell you how thankful I am to be in this position and to be a part of all of this with you. And I look forward to doing the next one. I look forward to being, continuing to make the Comic Art Live channel and the things we do live streamed in front of you even more fun and engaging, and hopefully, adding things to your collections. And it certainly has worked for me as well. So I like to hear that, Ian. Ian said that I paid for an online ticket to New York Comic Con, but this was better and a better online event for me. And I'll be honest, I've heard that from so many people. A lot of people who paid to be exhibitors at those online San Diego Comic Cons. I've talked to several of them, and that whether they were artists getting Artist Alley booths at San Diego, or things that allowed them to have an exhibitor booth, or those that gave the online attendees access. The sellers didn't do well or didn't do anything. And, at the end of the day, those big shows aren't catering to creators as much as they used to. And by and large, Baltimore Heroes stand out as good shows that do, but they're not focused on us as a niche. And at the end of the day, we are a small niche. When you compare original art collectors to people who collect comics, are we even 1 or 2%? Probably not. I don't think so. So we're just not coveted in that way, and so the attention isn't there. At least here we can focus on what's important to us and keep it that way. And so I don't know. I all I can say is, after the show, please go out there and let everybody know that this is a very fun experience. So because I think that I don't have the opportunity to market it like I should, and that's to the show's detriment a little bit. But at the same time, I know that we do well enough, but well enough isn't always good enough. And hopefully at some point I'll be able to maybe I'll be able to afford to bring somebody on that can help me with some of the marketing, so that we can make the show a little bit bigger and better. Because I can guarantee you that tomorrow I'm going to be emailed. I was emailed by like 5 artists after the last show. Hey, I didn't know about this. I would have loved to have had a booth and exhibited my stuff. So I probably already have some this evening, but I know it'll happen the next 2 days, and it's getting the word out. And I'm not a part of any comic artist Facebook group, but I know some of you probably are, and we just need to kind of get the word out to let people know that this opportunity is out there, and it's good for everybody. So I guess we passed the 50, so that's great. Let's see, what did Fish have to say? In the big show, small collectors can't sell pages except to dealers. For a huge cut, we don't have platform to sell to each other. This is the way. Right. No, I agree. And I want it to, but I want it, for me, I want it to work for everybody. And like I said, I want it to work for auction houses too. So that's on me to try to figure a way to make everybody be able to be as on a level playing field as possible, and that everybody is successful. So, I will, look forward to emails. I will go back and read through the whole chat and see what I missed. Who sold the best this weekend? Yeah, well, I think we all know who sold the best this weekend. They deserve a trophy, probably, for selling about a quarter of the sales that I've mentioned here already. But we'll have to take that gentleman out to dinner at some point. Yes, it was definitely Dino. So all right, with that, again, please email me. Everybody who was an exhibitor, that I will send you a follow-up email probably in the next 2 days, looking for feedback. Also reminding you that if you did zero out any of your sales, to at least shoot me an email letting me know what those total sales were. And also for reps, I know that several commissions were taken. Heck, Albert had Jim Lee and Liam Sharp on the commission list. So I know lots of commissions were accepted as well. And that's one of the other questions I ask exhibitors who were taking commissions. If they did, how many did they take? Do you mind at least sharing the total dollar amount? That way, again, it just gives me a better understanding of what happened during the show. I can see the number of emails that happened for commissions and those sorts of things, but how many were consummated, I would never know without asking. So it's up to 597. See, yeah, 8 sales happened in the last 20 minutes since I refreshed. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So again, yes, Ron, Maureen deserves a whole lot of credit for everything that we've accomplished here, and thank you for including me in that. I appreciate it. But a search button for booths, I have thought about that as well, Tim, and I won't discount that as an idea. But the thing is, for me, I don't know. We can add a search button in the booth, but on a booth, there's no paging. So we always show 24 pieces or 48 if you fill it. So it's a scroll. But I hear you. It wouldn't be a bad idea to include a site search within a booth. I mean, I should add one in everybody's calf gallery. We've talked about the need for that. Um, to oh yeah, no, Nick, yeah, we'll definitely break 620 for sure. And that's about, I think, where we were at the last one. We didn't hit 700 sales on the last show either. So if we go over well over 600, I'll be pretty happy. I mean, I think we're safe to say we've crossed the $1 million mark on sales. We were at 1.2, 1.3 last show, so we're right where we should be. What's the best way to donate to CAF? Or do I have a PayPal? Well, YouTube does take a high percentage with the super chats just as part of their service. I've heard there's some kind of a class action suit against them. Maybe that will change at some point. I don't know. You guys know I've never asked for donations. That's why we created premium memberships in the first place. So I don't know. If you ever want to make a donation, email me privately. I could tell you, but it's not. I've never made that a priority for things that we do here. I want to provide a good service that people want to support, and that's why premium memberships came about. But yeah, I mean, PayPal is probably the easiest way to make a donation when you really feel like you want to. But yeah, email me privately, Fish. I can say yeah. But yeah, that's again, it's YouTube has been a very good thing for us as far as like helping us expand things and created another revenue channel. So whether they take 30% or they hopefully one day knock it back down to 15 or whatever the heck they've got, and again, you guys, the Scott sending me this very expensive microphone, poker chips from Jeff. I mean, he sent me some art. I've opened up artworks that people have sent me. You guys have done more than I would have ever expected, and so money is not, to me, the thing. Money doesn't make everything. I've never been too worried about that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I'm happy to talk to anybody that wants to make a donation and really feel strongly about it. I will certainly do that. Via PayPal and friends. Yes, bill@comicartfans.com is my email address at PayPal as well. So I like Scott said, send gadgets. Yeah, I mean that's my daughter cheered when I got this Shure microphone. So it's meant a great deal to her to have me be well heard. So like I said, let's see, Popsequential. So Matt had a question off topic, but you got to start adding credits to those episodic. I do. I know it's time, man. We spent like 50, 60 hours editing that Doozy Doo episode. And when it got down to doing the credits, I wanted to have the credits scroll on the dance off because that's the appropriate place to do it. And I just ran out of time. I couldn't do it. But I always thank everybody who helped make those things happen. Obviously, my whole family. My son did half the editing on that. And if it wasn't for Anthony and Mike and Sharon playing those roles, we wouldn't have the fun shows that we have with them. So, but you're absolutely right. I need to make them a little bit more thoughtful. I mean, when we did that one really cool interview with the Gallery of Comic Art in New York, that was I put credits on that one because that was something I could really do from start to finish as a proper piece. But send a server kit. Yeah, Jason, that would be. Oh, I highlighted the wrong one because too many comments popped in. Yeah, server kits would be good. Let's see. All right, so Fish, good evening, and to everybody, I'm going to sign off as well. Maki Pupu, I did want to thank you for that super chat as well. I appreciate every one of them, and Tatiana, thank you. And you know that you and I will always partner on things. You've always had my back, like a lot of people in this hobby, and again, it's without that support and without I'll tell you, just having thoughtful emails come in every now and again make me kind of help move things along when we're getting to these kind of deadlines and that we have to have a lot of work to get done, and I appreciate that more than anything. It's just the pats on the back and knowing that we're doing well for everybody. So we're going to keep on trucking, and nothing's going to stop. So I'm going to call it a panel. I'm going to close it, and I just want you to know that again, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate everything that you all do to make this show special, and I will continue to do the same for you. And spend the last couple hours here looking through the show, looking through your save list, seeing if there's anything else to pick up before the show closes at 10 p.m. Eastern. And you'll see me again tomorrow night on Dueling Dealers. So with that, enjoy the rest of the show, and I will see